How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today I'm on phase 3. I'm on the Black Badger Lake map, but yeah, I'm gonna try some mods out. I've gone and downloaded this thing, the Azov 7330, I believe it's called. I'll have to think of a different name for that. I'm not too keen on the code names, but yeah, it's a very good truck, to be honest. It's kind of a cross between Bruce and John. It's got lots of add-ons and stuff. It's pretty cool. I've used it for the last couple of days, scouted the whole of this map, the whole of Grainwoods River, and yeah, did it pretty quick because I already knew kind of where I was going. I'm going to do this mission today. Is it contribution to farm restoration? So I'm going to loop up the top there, grab long logs and take them to the farm. I'm going to end up doing 2 trips in them, but I'm going to cut one of them out. I'll explain. Well, basically, I already tried getting this footage, and I was driving them as a road train, and it's not that they're bad at all as a road train. They were fine. They just... It didn't really do the truck justice, kind of thing. It made more sense to actually do more of the gameplay of it just driving on its own, because... Yeah, like I said, there's just little sections, like, on its own, it can motor along in high range pretty much all day long through most things. As a road train and everything, particularly when both of them had long logs as well, yeah, there was just more areas where it'd, like, not be able to carry on in the high range and that, so it was slowing them down, and as I said, it wasn't really doing them justice, because, yeah, it's a very solid truck, as you're about to see. So I'm going to go on this route, do this lap, and deliver 1 lot of long logs. As you can see, I need to deliver 2. I'm just going to do the exact same route again with the blue Azov that's still at the garage. And then, yeah, the next step of the mission, which I was kind of more looking forward to anyway, was the wooden planks. I've got to deliver 6 of those. I'm going to go and take some logs to the sawmill, just to kind of show you how that works. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. But like I said, this was just an excuse, really, to test these out. So like I said, I've not really been using mods on my main playthrough. Mainly because I'm a little worried about bugs and that. There's a few people that have said, you know, long story short, with the mods and everything, they've lost their, like, entire gameplay, and they've had to start again. Preferably, I really don't want to be in that situation. Yeah, I don't want to lose all my OG loafs, and Bruce and John and Dan and all the rest of them, Stevie Wonder. So yeah, I've kind of been keeping away from them a little bit on the main playthrough, but obviously I've got my second playthrough. These maps are new anyway, so I just kind of, yeah, loaded my second playthrough up, got these Azovs, got on this map, like I say, scouted this one, scouted Grainwoods River. I've gone and collected every mission as well. That's what kind of took me, I've burnt up a lot of my time tonight. That's probably why this video is going to end up uploading a little bit late. Nothing too bad. There was quite a few different combinations of missions. Like originally tonight, I kind of decided, yeah, I definitely want to have a modded night of using modded trucks, and I wanted to use this because I just got it, and again, I've not really made a video on it or anything like that. I also wanted to use the Azov iceberg because I knew that thing would be an absolute beast and it'd motor its way across the map. However, as of yet, you're not able to get like the log carriage or anything on the Azov. I should imagine I can tow the medium log trailer, but there was a setup where I was hoping I could put the long logs on the Azov, and then I was going to winch a medium log trailer behind it, and then I was going to bring one of these as well with, I can't remember, long logs or maybe another medium log trailer. I think it was the weather station mission I was going to do, but then I realised, one, I won't be able to winch them all together, and yeah, secondly, the Azov iceberg, pretty much all the mods I've got, to be honest, can't have the this new logging add-on except this. I've only got, I think, 4 or 5 of the mods at the minute. It's removed a few. I sold the big boy back earlier. As much as I like it and everything, I probably will use it again at some point. My mods and everything were behaving a bit slow. There was a few things in the menu it was saying, like, I've run out of space. So I sold the big boy back and I sold the JB Royal back. Again, it's a good truck. I might get it again in the future. I've still got my JB John, but that can't have a login thing. I've got the Azov Iceberg and the Twice Twin Steer. Neither of them can have this login thing. And then something else as well. I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, but yeah, long story short, none of them can have it. So like I said, I ended up getting this. This can have everything, all the new stuff. I'm pretty sure this got added post phase 3 update, hence why this can have stuff. I think that's why a lot of mods have been removed and gone missing recently, because I assume people are updating them. I believe that like Puppy Master made the Heavy Wrecker, a lot of people are wondering where that's gone. I believe he's removed it and he's adding like the the logging add-ons. Yeah, so hopefully there's going to be like a medium kind of log cradle that you're able to put on it. Yeah, so they all should be back pretty soon. So that's why in the end I settled for just getting 2 of these. And it didn't go too well through the river this time, but I did catch the trailer on the edge of that rock. I think that pretty much stopped me. As soon as I kind of winched the trailer, yeah, so it was unhooked off the rock, it was allowing me to drive forward on my own again. But it was, yeah, this river is clearly still over the top. Now as well, again, it's probably not the greatest example, but I believe I got hooked on a tree, because look, even when I winched to something, it almost tipped me over. I was that hooked onto something. So I'm pretty certain that wasn't rocks by that point. But like I said, that apart from that, it probably didn't make it look too great. But yeah, it absolutely nailed scouting these maps. I probably scouted them each one in 20-30 minutes, if that. And then another 10 or 15 minutes just doing a lap of the map to collect any missions that I'd not got. And you see down in this farm area, I mean, I am, yeah, loaded with the long logs. They are pretty heavy. I've also got the crane. The crane probably does add weight to it. I haven't checked specifically, but I remember from back in the base game trucks, when you add the yellow or the blue crane, like the mini crane, it actually adjusts your power to weight ratio stats, whereas, yeah, a lot of things don't, basically. So it wouldn't surprise me if the crane's probably changing the characteristic a little bit more than the other stuff. Again, I mean, we've got a goddamn horse over vehicle with me. I will say, other than the fact that I think it's safe to say now, I am pretty fond of me loafs. But yeah, this thing, because it is pretty good, and it's very good, and it motors its way along the map, it's prone to taking a fair amount of accumulated over time suspension damage, because it can go fast enough to break its suspension. And to be fair, once you have broke the suspension, it still motors along just fine. But once the suspension is gone, the thing that then starts taking damage is your fuel tank. And once that's broken, obviously, even though you've got 500 litres, which is plenty, it now just starts ticking down like more than a litre a second. And yeah, you're now on borrowed time, basically. So take a goddamn horse or vehicle with me, and yeah, I've got repair points, again, extra fuel. I don't think I'll really need it in this case, because it has got a massive fuel tank, but... And this map has got 3 fuel stations as well, which is pretty nice. I don't think Greenwood's River, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think that's got any fuel stations on it. Yeah, so again, like I said, I just did the exact same route again with this. It was just to keep the video short, otherwise it was going to be another one that's like easily over 40 minutes and stuff. And yeah, just wanted to keep it down a little bit. But that's that mission done, and again, they both nailed it by comparison. Again, I still really like these maps, but particularly this farm section is just painfully slow. And even though these weren't quite keen on going all the way through in high gear, they would, yeah, most parts, and even in auto, it still has a fairly nice pace to it. So I kind of think maybe, I think this terrain has been set, like, say for example, just in a given truck, say you're in first gear auto, and let's just say for the sake of argument, you have to rev up to 2000 RPM before it'll try and change to second gear. I think that terrain, the farm bit, limits your rev cap to say 1500 RPM in that case. So not only is it not winding all the way up first gear, hence why they do feel a little bit like less powerful, but it just never even entertains the idea of changing into second gear. Even if you tap in L1 and all sorts, it's just like you're physically not going fast enough. There isn't enough revs to meet the requirement. Because I've noticed when using some of these mod trucks, like, it's funny how they just behave differently, and they're not as affected by the mud. And I'm sure, I mean, maybe it's got, you know, better tyre stats and all that, but I don't know. It's just the actual behaviour of the truck seems different, where even in the mud, if I was in auto, it was still fighting its way through first, and every now and then it was jumping into second, and sometimes it'd stay in second, then I'd just stick in high. That, by the way, because I'm going to go and do the wooden planks, I could put a 2-slot and the step deck, but this thing actually has a 4-slot, which I really like. And to be honest with you, there was no other good reason for doing it the way I'm about to do it now, other than I just wanted to use the 4-slot trailer because it's pretty cool. Like I said, it kind of turns this thing into a twin steer in that sense. Yeah, because I've got to take 6 planks, so, but there's a wooden frame building right near to where I've got to drop it off, so it's of no real issue. I already knew that was the case, but this is just being awkward. This is what I wanted to do. So again, I could go round. There is 3 wood frame buildings on this map. So I could have gone and scavenged all them, but one, I didn't really want to, and two, I just thought it was a good chance to fly down to the sawmill. Like I said, I'll take some long logs with me, with that Azov behind me, and I'll cache them in and kind of just show you all that. And then, yeah, it ends up, I think, being probably just as quick anyway, instead of kind of zigzagging across the map to get all the wood frame buildings. So what have we got? Wood frame, there's bricks as well. I found a few brick frame buildings, it's like the 3 little pigs. And then metal, yeah. Metal frame build, that must be the 4th pig. They don't talk about the 4th little pig. They outsmarted all of them, probably a loaf. 3 little pigs on a loaf, sounds about right to me. Yeah, as you can see though, even through here it's motoring along. It doesn't even die in high range going up here, which is nice, considering it is in a road train situation. A fairly unloaded one, but still. And I mean, 2 of them together, it's allowing me to stay in high gear and motor along, so certainly no complaints. Yeah, in that sense. And overall, like I say, it's just a pretty cool truck. Again, I think it's Bruce's chassis, so it's got like the 3 rear axles, the 2 front ones. Both front axles are steerable. It's got the rear steer, so even for a pretty lengthy truck, it's actually got a pretty nice, a decent enough turning circle. The only one shame, but I get why, with this setup, with the 4-slot sideboard, I can't tow trailers. It's got a 3-slot sideboard option, and then you will be able to tow trailers, but yeah, this was just a bit of a unique one where it is actually 4. And yeah, I couldn't resist. That's what I wanted to use. And you see, cutting across here as well, I mean, it's not going rapid. I've had to drop it down into auto, but I cut 2 or 3 minutes out of driving across here the other day in some of the videos. And every time I'm kind of bumping a stone, the Azov behind me is kind of giving me a little bump boost over it. And then again, when that Azov is now going over the same stone, this thing, like the winch goes tight and pulls that over. So particularly the pair of them as well, they got through there in what, more like 20 seconds instead of, yeah, 2 or 3 minutes. And again, that's one of the notoriously slow, just overdone sections of this map. I wasn't paying attention, didn't realise the turn was coming up so soon. But again, good enough turning circle that I didn't have to faff around. Pretty good at not tipping. I mean, they're not, you know, untippable or anything like that. You can tip them, but they're definitely weighted pretty decently low down. So, yeah, if you tip this thing, you probably would have tipped most other things. So, I think that's fair enough to say. And yeah, like I say, it's got John's cab, so I suppose that just ends up making it. I suppose in a way they might have done that because Bruce's cab in general is kind of bigger and deeper than this cab, so I suppose this gives it just enough room to kind of help squeeze that 4-slot sideboard on. But yeah, just power wise it's very good. It's got a lot of choice of engines. Most of them just said S+ on the power. I went for the one with the highest looking numbers. Highest looking numbers are most expensive. That seems to be the way to go. Yeah, 50-inch tyres. It's got some like unique tyres of its own on at the minute, which I think look pretty cool. They suit the game pretty well. I think they're kind of studded tyres as well, so they're behaving like chained, but they haven't actually got the chained on, because I know quite a few people don't like the look of chained for some reason. See them rocks, it looked like they just sprung out the floor then, but again, if any of you see my video the other day when I was using the P512 and the bore, I had to cut up here to get some logs, and they both got stuck here pretty badly. It was a loaf that rescued the bore. The P512 just had to slowly winch its way through. This thing, again, I did drop it down into auto. It's not to say there might be a chance I could have left it in high and just squeezed the throttle, but there just becomes a point with, like, the deeper terrain, the boggier mud, where the game mechanics just punish high range over the auto. As soon as you drop down to auto, it's like you get a grip boost or a little, yeah, like a grip bonus or something. But again, though, yeah, cut through there, no issues at all, so happy days. Trying to think what else is with. I mean, it's got all kinds of add-ons like the big cranes, the little cranes. Again, this sort of sideboard. It's got an extra long fuel tanker add-on, but you can still get the shorter fuel tank. You can have like a 2-slot sideboard and the trailer, which is a bit like I showed you earlier when I like the setup I probably should have used to just take 6 planks all in one. So there's my logs. Again, this is like a little bit of road train footage, but not too far down the road from here is the sawmill. once I've got all that sorted, I'll ditch one of these Azovs, and yeah, the rest of it will be a solo drive again. A bit flat out, maybe abusing the truck a little bit, but again, it was nice to just have a little mad 5 minutes on mods, and I don't think I was going crazy. I was just trying to sort of demonstrate, yeah, if you're in one of them moods where you don't really fancy feeling the full effects of the deformable terrain physics, then yeah, it's nice to just stick a mod on and kind of cut some of it out. Particularly that the devs clearly keep trying to make each map more and more trollish. I appreciate they definitely have balanced this one out better than stuff like Amandra, but it does make me wonder with the stuff like the farm and yeah, that little like edge of the lake cut through as you go down to the railway, why they've just made it so insane that it doesn't even feel realistic. Yeah, I mean, I ended up using that shortcut. I went through the railway. It was to grab the logs as well, but it was probably a better way of going, because I popped out on the other side of the railway bridge, which I haven't got built yet on this playthrough. And it saved me driving through all the muddy sections that are just back behind the other side of that railway bridge. And I did drive through them muddy sections earlier in one of these, and to be fair, it did stay in high gear and motored through them, but still. This way around it was actually not that bad. I'll probably use that route with normal trucks in my first playthrough. So yeah, here we are at the sawmill, and you can basically cache long logs and medium logs in exchange for planks. So drop the long logs off, and if you remember, it takes 3 long logs to then click pack it, and then it packs it into like a full log trailer. So there, I was looking, yeah, I've got the long logs, so I've got 3 of them, and for each log I swap, I get 4 planks. So off them long logs, I got 12 lots of planks. Stick 4 in this trailer. Yeah, like I said, I need 6, but it's a minor inconvenience. We'll sort it out at the end. It was only about now though, as I was driving off, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to leave me little goddamn horse of a vehicle behind, which I wasn't too happy about. So started rubbing the noggin. That sounds like some kind of euphemism. And yeah, trying to think, what could I do? Had a little look round at me Azov. I was like, I know, I've got a plan. I mean, what a goddamn horse vehicle. Every single time. That's the thing with a loaf. He is a professional, but he just makes you happy. Whatever it is you think of doing, the loaf manages to pull it off. I don't know how, but he does. So this is the route I was originally planning on, that I'd drawn out. Kind of zip all the way across to the bottom corner, follow that road round up to the farm. However, I wasn't too happy with it in the end, so I was deleting the line back to the brickworks place, and then I won't show you me drawing all of it, but I'm going to cut down here instead. And there's a wooden bridge there that I've not built yet. And yeah, eventually kind of draw. I'm just going to cut across the middle island, and when I zoom out now, you'll see it's just a shorter route. Better, I think. In theory, I could also sort of double back on myself and cut across where the factory's bridge is and do it that way, but this way was kind of more fun. It might even be just as quick anyway, because like I said, doubling back on myself, I'm going to have to go through all those crappy mud roads the other side of the railway bridge. At least this way, it's pretty much plain sailing. We said plain sailing or something. God knows, too excited from all that loaf action. But as you can see though, he is a professional. I think we can all agree. He made it. He crossed the gap. I even noticed while I was watching that footage that as I started to drive the loaf across to the roof, the wheel on what, it'd be the right hand side, looked like it was going to slip off the roof, and I just turned the camera the other way and then floored it again, as if just by not being able to see the danger, it was now gone. I'm definitely the kind of person that if I stuck black tape over an engine warning light in a car, it is officially fixed. That's all you need to know. I did used to have a car, well, me and Ad did, a Renault Laguna, and that had black tape over the engine light, so for quite a while we thought it was good, and then the tape came off. I was like, oh no, it's got a knackered engine, but then we just put the tape back and it was, job's a good one. It was a piece of crap, that thing, anyway. As we were driving down the motorway, it had two clips that held the bonnet in place, and one of them had come off, so like once we went to the Isle of Man, and on the way just driving there because we've got to get there in time for the boat, so there's no rush or whatever, and it was all normal. On the way home, however, a few days later, when it's like 3 in the morning and you've got about 200 miles to do on the motorway that's completely dead at that time, absolutely just floor it flat out. And yeah, I remember the bonnet on that Laguna was flapping around like mad, and I was thinking any minute now it could just swing up, smash into the windscreen, and I won't be able to see where I'm going. But there was time to be shaved off and I really did want to get home, and I probably needed a piss, so had to be done. The risk had to be taken, and it paid off. Yeah, this thing again there, you can see in high range, motors up there, no issues. I'm actually being a little bit careful through here, only because I did tip something the other day here. It's more that section. Once your wheels bump over that rock, it kind of levels out and you're alright from then on, really. I could get it back into high range now, but again, I drove through here. It might have been in this yesterday, maybe, when I was just scouting the map, and I flew through here in high range. It wasn't this that I tipped, but I smashed it up pretty good on these rocks as I was coming back up the other side in high range. So yeah, this time I decided go a little bit easy on it. But like I say, if I do damage the suspension, that is literally why I brought the loaf in this case, and why it was nice to transfer the loaf across to this one. And yeah, that worked out pretty damn well, if I do say so myself. It's pretty happy with the results. He's coming with us. Can't leave a goddamn professional behind. See, through here, it was, again, I maybe could have just kept squeezing it in high, but I don't think it would have done me too many favours. Drop down into auto, it's still going pretty slow. I reckon I might just be hooked on some rocks, because it starts jiggling its way loose a little bit better, I believe. Or do I end up just flinging out a sodic winch? Yep. The winch of that's enough realism has been deployed. But yeah, it's very few sections like that, and again, I mean, mere seconds, we're out the other side. I can already stick it up in high, even flying up the a pretty steep hill there, and we're just off again to enjoy the views, the pace. I mean, yeah, the argument could be made, it'd be a fair one to make, considering I say that it's boring going 2 miles an hour and all you do is squeeze the throttle. This thing is almost the other end of the scale. You just squeeze the throttle in a lot of cases. However, I'm more engaged in other areas, like I'm going fast enough now that I could crash. I need to pay attention to where I'm going. I'm constantly needing to like adjust the steering and all that, and yeah, just overall I'm more engaged and I'm more responsible for getting the truck from A to B, whereas when it is just 2 miles an hour through some horrifically slow mud, it's, yeah, more of an inevitability. You've just got to sit there and watch it happen. Like, for all intents and purposes, it may as well just pop up a picture on the screen and say, watch paint dry, watch this paint dry for 5 minutes, and when it's dry, you'll be there. And yeah, I'd rather have a bit of risk to the situation. So this is the wooden bridge that I haven't built, but again, this thing high ranges it all the way to about there, and then I just dropped it in auto. But as you can see, I was much deeper water, and that section just isn't dialed up to the max like it seems to be with some areas on this map. So again, it sort of shows they have intentionally gone over the top on some of these places, because yeah, it appears the default situation is as normal, and trucks can actually go through water without it being like treacle. So cutting up this way, now I'm back to, again, just behind me now is the Factories Bridge. Not built that either on this map. I might end up doing, I don't know, but I might end up doing a mission on this mod playthrough that's the same as one of the missions that I've already made a video on the normal playthrough. I don't know yet, it'll just depend, like, obviously I'll do each mission on this anyway, whether I make a video on it or not. As long as it's like a completely different route and different variety of trucks and all the rest of it, I probably will make it, because it might be interesting to see the comparison between the times it takes and all sorts. There was a road cutting off to the left there, and I kind of didn't really notice it at the time, but I noticed it when I was looking through the footage, and yeah, kind of interested as to which route that'd take me, but I didn't really mind going along here. It's funny as well, because coming through here, obviously I was kind of like, oh, I've got a long vehicle, I might have to go a bit wide, and then yeah, I kind of realised the last time I came through here, I think the last 2 times I've had big road trains on the go, so this vehicle is pretty short by comparison. Squeeze through there, no problem. That's definitely what she said. And again, being a little bit gentle, just as you go off the edge there, it can... I mean, it's one of them, this truck is very good at not tipping, even I've got full cargo and a loaf wobbling around on top, but the biggest way you're going to make it tip is if you go too fast into an area and you kind of slam one side of the truck down and it sort of pings the suspension and, yeah, helps. If you're already your weight shifting, it can carry you over, but as long as you're a bit gentle on some of the spots, then yeah, it's not too bad. Going pretty well. Like I say, you can't have bobble heads on trucks like this that don't have a bonnet, so got myself a bobble loaf with 1 up to the game. Outplayed by a goddamn horse. And yeah, cutting through there, again, I mean, not the fastest, but certainly not classic farm pace, horrifically slow, like it has been for the last week or so with normal trucks. Jiggling around there, imagine if I just tipped it then, really would not have been too impressed. Oh yeah, but I got to this point, I was like, oh cool, done. And then I was like, oh yeah, I've only brought 4, not 6. But, again, I had already planned for this. The loaf just drops down, it lands in the sideboard. Look at the map, you can see there's the a wood framing, which is literally just behind me down the road, so talking a matter of minutes. And I don't think it would have made any difference. If I took that 2-slot sideboard and the step deck, I could have had yeah, enough room for a loaf and the 6 wood as well, but I don't know, to be honest. I actually have no particular good reason. I just really wanted to use this 4-slot sideboard. I wonder if those trees, I wonder if you can knock them over. Because that whole farm section there kind of looks a bit like the one in Black River, but those line of trees are dead, and there was also that big tree that the Predator, heard him again on this map, follows me everywhere. Yeah, so I might have to try that out at some point. Killing trees is definitely something fun to pass the time, just like those two. And again, dropping the hammer a bit, I broke my suspension now, so I'm just kind of... I could have stopped now and obviously unpacked the loaf and fixed it, but I thought for the sake of it, I may as well show you a little bit of gameplay of once you have smashed the suspension, this thing still motors along with little to no issues anyway. But like I said, after your suspension's gone, the next thing to take hits is your fuel tank, and once that goes, you will know about it. All the power in the world ain't going to do any good when you've yeah, got no fuel to actually start it. Which, I mean, again, the loaf, he has got fuel reserves, so I could still make it a bit further, but it's certainly limited by that point. We have seen the loaf pull off the impossible though, with like, what was it, 3 fuel left by the time he rescued a dolphin. The old Simply Red one. If you don't loaf me by now. Hit that tree, like, wow. Let's try that again. Just make sure it wasn't it wasn't a fluke. But again, I mean, you're barely like half a truck length and I'm already back in high range, which is yeah, pretty good. Motoring along. There is a fuel station there, but like, so this thing is pretty decent, apart from the fact that it's got a 500 litre fuel tank, which is probably more realistic than anything. Obviously not the use per minute, it's probably more like the fuel per hour in real life, but yeah, I mean, you do see it can go up into like the mid-20s with the fuel, but quite a lot of the time it's sitting in the 10 to 15 range, so it's not that juicy. Not like Navistar juicy or anything, and again, yeah, it's got twice the fuel tank of most trucks. And that was it. Last 2 bits of wood, job done. Again, pretty nice. It was like 1400 XP. Again, it shrinks the screen, so I can't really see it. About 15 grand, which is pretty nice. I won't say no to it. See, horse of a vehicle, unpack him, get everything fixed up and done, and we're good to go again. Little toot of the horn, little victory noise. Getting packed, and then yeah, in the end, I just drew a little line back to the the garage. I just wanted one last attempt. Now I'm unpacked and all the rest of it. I mean, we've got a horse, but like I said, unless he is a weight distribution loaf, then he's basically weightless. Yeah, just to kind of show you how well this thing can do in high range through the farm mud section when it's unpacked. So I'm in high now, motoring along pretty nicely. You get the odd patch like that. I still kept it pinned, started creeping over to that green grass over there. That wound me back up in high, so I was going along pretty nicely. But yeah, every other truck pretty much, certainly I'd think non-mod trucks, you'd be in either a lot of wheel spinning in first gear auto, or you'd be in low range with the diffs on, etc, etc. Apologies, there's a tiny little glitch there, as usual. I think this was the only section though where I had to actually drop down to auto. And as you'll see, just to get past that little bit, I start heading over to the green grass again. As soon as I hear it go into second gear, I know I've got enough momentum to bang it in high and drop the hammer again. And yeah, we're away. And the only thing about this truck that I'd say is not a bad thing, relatively speaking, but it's probably its biggest weakness, is it can catch its chin a little bit. But again, it's not crazy or anything like that, it's just there isn't a lot of weaknesses to this truck. That's probably the only one I can really think of. And you see, even cutting across this notoriously trollish river, floored it in high gear, a nice little sharp turn at the end, get over to that green grass as soon as possible. Yeah, didn't even have to drop out a high range there, which, to be honest, is probably more how that river crossing should happen, but nonetheless, this truck is allowing it to be that way. So yeah, just pretty good results all around, really. Definitely a truck I'd recommend, worth grabbing. And all in all, it's a pretty good mission. I might have overcomplicated it a little bit in certain ways, but that's what happens every now and then, having a good old time. And it's just last little bit of footage. It's this section again that I got stuck in the other day with a bore. And you see this thing, high gear, just smashes its way through it when it's unloaded. But yeah, that's about it for today though. Hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my Patreon members. And I'll be back soon.